Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys episode 22222 of Record of Ragnarok, Season 2, The Indomitable War God, the second episode of the otherwise series that I think most people are very skeptical about, and hopefully episode 1 has changed everybody's mind. If you guys didn't check it out already, episode 1 is already up on the channel, my review and discussion about it. I think I'm really excited. I think it looks far better than Season 1. I think there's vast improvements. It's still not perfect, but I'll take a good adaptation if I can't get a fantastic one, right? Let's take what we can get, for sure. I did make notes, once again, just like Episode 1, and if you guys can tell, I'm recording this shortly after watching Episode 1, because I knew after I recorded Episode 1, I had to go and just keep watching. I had to watch another episode and such. I have more to do today, so probably the last one today, but I'll probably be recording a couple at a time each day that I get a chance to watch them, because Round 4 is my favorite, if you guys can't already tell. I got Heracles down here, you know, one of my favorite characters. Round 4 is awesome. Now, I don't have near as many notes for Episode 2 here. Nothing really negative, nothing too positive, more of the same. I will say I was much more pumped in Episode 1. Episode 1 was quite more enjoyable. I felt Episode 2 just kind of flew by. There was more CGI. There was only one major scene in the first episode that had it, and in this one you could tell that there was a few more shots here and there. Not that it was bad CGI, once again, but I hope that this won't be a running pattern. It seems like they're using CGI to fill in the gaps where they either ran out of money or time or etc. The things that we complained about in Season 1, and I'm sure our voices were heard for a time about the fact that there were too many stills and not enough actual proper animation in the fights, especially. It feels like, okay, where they had the time to do it, and if they ran out of time, that's when they relied on the CGI models just to make a scene so they could move on. I'm hoping that this isn't a pattern in the fact that it gets worse and worse and worse and more CGI going forward, because the CGI here in Episode 2 was not bad, but there was more of it. And as long as they keep the faraway shots, I believe I even said they were only for little quick shots, and most, if not all, of the close-ups were still animated and still the proper models. They were not the CGI models for a big close-up of a reaction shot or a punch to the face or anything like that yet. So hopefully it stays that way. If we're going to do a couple of faraway shots for some big scenic shots of Jack pulling out knives and whipping them all around and having this big epic scene, and that's all CGI, not going to be as complaint worthy, right? So this episode follows Heracles' backstory and how he became Heracles, which is something I guess we'll talk about here. That is one of the things that I don't really care for in Record of Ragnarok. The fact of the matter is that in the manga, and as you guys can probably tell, because this series got a little bit of hate from a lot of more religious people and stuff as the manga's been coming out, they are doing, obviously, their own interpretation of historical figures and gods, both in the most strictest religious sense and in the mythology sense, and they're telling their own version, their own interpretation, their own story. And we've seen that so far. So to be surprised by it at this point would be kind of, eh? That being said, I was never a big fan of changing up Heracles this much. Heracles' backstory is changed quite dramatically compared to basically everybody else's, from what we understand. It's changed to the point that there's almost nothing remaining other than the name. The fact that he's a hero and he's a half-god are basically the only things that remain of Heracles from the actual, whether the mythology, whether the damn Disney movie, whether what have you, Heracles' backstory is definitely changed. Is it a bad backstory? No, it's not, and it's animated well here. Once again, the hair on Heracles is changed perfectly, even when he's a young kid and when he's an adult, right before drinking the blood of Zeus to become a demigod, to become a half-god. And then later elevated to heaven and all that stuff. The backstory itself is fine, but the hair was perfectly fine. If they literally just grab that model and change that hair, that's the hair Heracles is supposed to have. It's just in black. If they just changed it red, it would look fine here in the Jack fight. I don't know what this is. I don't know what the adding of that is. And it really is bothering me. That is one thing that I'm going to take away, is that the animation's fine, and everything looks okay, but that damn cockatoo on the back of Heracles' head is just dorky. It's almost laughable, and it's definitely an aesthetic change that the anime production company chose to make, and I don't get why, because it looks worse, not better. So yeah, that is always probably going to bother me. I'll probably bring that up the whole damn time. So yeah, the hair is still an issue, but I know for a fact that they can make the proper hair. It wasn't somebody didn't double check in the manga how does Heracles look, because they got it absolutely spot on, even the youthfulness of his face and stuff like that when he was fighting Ares in his backstory. So a cool thing about the backstory was, as I said, they did the whole backstory this episode. I expect we're going to get Jax the next episode, in episode 3. But here in the episode, they showcased that they used to basically, okay, we're not going to destroy humanity. They used to do this vote, like what began the series. They used to do this vote every so often. They used to do it all the time. And even if they went, okay, yeah, I guess, well, we're voted no, so it's not unanimous, so we can't destroy all humanity, but we got to teach them a lesson. We got to teach them a lesson. Okay, let's teach them a lesson at this city or that city, or let's cause this atrocity or this atrocity and stuff. And the town or the city of Thebes was the one to be chosen. Of course, that's where Heracles was. He was given a new name and all this stuff, and he's friends with Castor and all this. It's completely different from any telling of Heracles. And once again, we'll talk about the detriments of that in the episodes as they come up. Though they sort of came up here, but I think we'll save it for sort of closer to the end of the fight. But the fact that Heracles is an actual demi-human, or demigod, I should say. He's half human, half god, and not in the strictest sense that he is the legit son of Zeus. We're going to see a couple of issues in the fight with that. But yeah, so it's kind of cool in the fact that after Heracles stood up to Ares and they came down, to wipe it out, and he was like, no, and he drank the blood of Zeus, and he fought against Ares, and he defeated the battalion. Zeus came down and stopped it, and Heracles basically said, okay, you want to make me a god and go up to heaven? Fine, then stop fucking with humanity. No more interfering with humanity. And for the next, in the anime, I didn't get to double check the manga before making this, but they say for the next 4,000 years. That's why people have stopped. That's a good reason as to why people are like, oh, God used to do this, that, and the other thing in all these mythologies and in all the tellings and the religious books and stuff like that. Where's the God of today and stuff? They're sort of explaining that. I don't think this was the total intention, but they're sort of explaining that away by saying Heracles basically said, gods, stop interfering and judging humanity. Just stop doing it. We're not doing it anymore. If I agree to come up to become, the son of Zeus and be a god of fortitude and all this stuff, no more of this. No more coming down just because you feel like destroying something. None of that. And they were like, all right, cool, bargain. And that's where it ends. For the next 4,000 years, up until now in Ragnarok, that has been the case. That's why, and they haven't interfered since. Really epic for Heracles, of course, to pull that off. What else do I got here? As I said, not as good as episode 1, but still very exciting episode. Still well done. I was happy with how the pacing went and the flow. The OST, I haven't heard much from the OSTs yet, like anything super unique. But talking about the OSTs, the opening did grow on me a little bit more since episode 1, since I watched it again, and I know that the animation is going to be okay. It's not going to be stellar, but it's going to be acceptable. Like, whew, sigh of relief, so I was able to enjoy the opening a little more this time. Still prefer the ending. But speaking of the OST, why don't we end off the episode 2 review on this? London Bridge is falling down, like that. Okay, wait a minute. The creepiness and the change. There's like Jax doing it with the London Bridge is falling down. It's very creepy and very, very nuanced and stuff like that, right? And I was like, okay. And then we actually get the strings. With the violin, we get the strings and stuff like that in the background, making it very ding, 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 you know, that creepy vibe to it. And then we hear the broken London Bridge is broken down, and you can hear both like a heavy, deep voice trying to sing it, and then you can hear a little childlike voice trying to sing it, but it's all distorted, and that's on. It's so good. It's so good. Now, granted, I'm going to have to go back and watch this episode in the Japanese subtitles because, as I told you guys in the episode 1 review, I'm watching it in both because I actually like the English dub. But since I watched it in the English dub secondary for episode 1, when I turned it on, it was already on there. I just finished watching it and got other things to do today, so I just wanted to get this one out. So I haven't had a chance to watch that in Japanese. I'll be curious. I hope the OST is the same. I hope that OST was, like, they keep the OST for the same thing. It's not, you know, different just because it's London Bridge is falling down, because the tone was creepy. The distorted voices of the deep voice and the childlike voice trying to sing it, you can barely make them out. It's scratchy, it's distorted, it's creepy because you got a deep, big, burly man trying to sing such a nursery rhyme, and then you got the very high-pitched, creepy, I'm crazy little kids singing it and stuff, and it's just like, whoa. This is a tone. This is a tone. Now, some people might have been disappointed. They thought London Bridge is falling down is going to be this epic, huge thing. But I think it fits perfectly. It's supposed to have this very silent, just listening to Jack sing it in a creepy voice, having a little bit of strings in behind him. We didn't need this big opera behind him, you know, singing it like it's Duel of Goddamn Fates. We needed it to be slow and creepy and like shadows seeping in over something, you know what I mean? The sun's going down and the night is rising. We needed that slowness to it, and it works beautifully here. If anything, that is one thing that episode 2 has that episode 1 didn't. That London Bridge is falling down. That so far, that's the best new OST, because that shit was creepy. So I like it. I think it was great. But that's episode 2, The Indomitable War God. What do you guys think of the episode? Once again, let me know down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always, and we will see you guys back here next time, I'm sure, for episode 3. But so far, I'm very satisfied with episodes 1 and 2, and just with a few nitpicks that you guys have already heard from both reviews so far. So looking forward to the fact that hopefully the pacing continues, the animation quality continues, and you know, assuming there's no huge hiccups or big changes from the manga, I think I'm going to enjoy the entirety of Animated Round 4. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you next time. Sayonara.